Chapter 1 of The House of the Arrow. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by David Wales. The House of the Arrow by A.E.W. Mason. Chapter 1. Letters of Mark. Messrs. Frobisher and Hazlitt, the solicitors on the east side of Russell Square, counted amongst their clients a great many who had undertakings established in France, and the firm was very proud of this branch of its business. "It gives us a place in history," Mr. Jeremy Hazlitt used to say, for it dates from the year 1806, when Mr. James Frobisher, then our very energetic senior partner, organized the escape of hundreds of British subjects who were detained in France by the edict of the first Napoleon. The firm received the thanks of His Majesty's government, and has been fortunate enough to retain the connection thus made. I look after that side of our affairs myself. Mr. Hazlitt's daily batch of letters, therefore, contained as a rule a fair number bearing the dark blue stamp of France upon their envelopes. On this morning of early April, however, there was only one. It was addressed in a spidery, uncontrolled hand with which Mr. Hazlitt was unfamiliar, but it bore the postmark of Dijon, and Mr. Hazlitt tore it open rather quickly. He had a client in Dijon, a widow, Mrs. Harlow, of whose health he had had bad reports. The letter was certainly written from her house, La Maison Grenelle, but not by her. He turned to the signature. "Waberski," he said with a frown. "Boris Waberski?" And then, as he identified his correspondent, "Oh, yes." He sat down in his chair and read. The first part of the letter was merely flowers and compliments, but halfway down the second page its object was made clear as glass. It was £500. Old Mr. Hazlitt smiled and read on, keeping up, whilst he read, a one-sided conversation with the writer. "I have a great necessity of that money," wrote Boris, and "I'm quite sure of that," said Mr. Hazlitt. "My beloved sister, Jean Marie," the letter continued. "Sister-in-law," Mr. Hazlitt corrected. "Cannot live for long, in spite of all the care and attention I give to her," Boris Waberski went on. "She has left me, as no doubt you know, a large share of her fortune. Already, then, it is mine, yes? One may say so, and be favourably understood. We must look at the facts with the eyes. Expedite me, then, by the recommended post a little of what is mine, and agree my distinguished salutations." Hazlitt's smile became a broad grin. He had in one of his tin boxes a copy of the will of Jean Marie Harlow, drawn up in due form by her French notary at Dijon, by which every farthing she possessed was bequeathed without condition to her husband's niece and adopted daughter, Betty Harlow. Jeremy Hazlitt almost destroyed that letter. He folded it, his fingers twitched at it. There was already actually a tear at the edges of the sheets, when he changed his mind. "No," he said to himself, "no. With the Boris Waberskis one never knows," and he locked the letter away on a ledge of his private safe. He was very glad that he had when, 3 weeks later, he read in the obituary column of the Times the announcement of Mrs. Harlow's death, and received a big card with a very deep black border in the French style from Betty Harlow, inviting him to the funeral at Dijon. The invitation was merely formal. He could hardly have reached Dijon in time for the ceremony had he started off at that instant. He contented himself with writing a few lines of sincere condolence to the girl, and a letter to the French notary in which he placed the services of the firm at Betty's disposal. And then he waited. "I shall hear again from little Boris," he said, and he heard within the week. The handwriting was more spidery and uncontrolled than ever. Hysteria and indignation had played havoc with Waberski's English. Also, he had doubled his demand. "It is outside belief," he wrote. "Nothing has she left to her so attentive brother. There is something here I do not much like. It must be £1,000 now, by the recommended post. 'You have always had the world against you, my poor Boris,' she say, with the tears all big in her dear eyes. 'But I make all right for you in my will. And now nothing. I speak, of course, to my niece. Ah, that hard one. She snap her fingers at me. Is that a behaviour? £1,000.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?